Welcome to the Coco Lesa Podcast. The Coco Lesa Podcast is produced and brought to you by the HOH Collective.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to
the Coco Lesa Podcast.
So funny. I'm really trying not to laugh right now because our little girl's like on her way to sleep, and just the So I think we always try our events. Our episodes are always pretty much current events. Like, we talk about the things that affect our lives, you know, and that we get passionate about, that we care about, and that are actively being talked about in our community.
Pretty much.
And some of those topics, like, they happen over and over again. And I think this is one of those topics. But this is one that I personally feel very strongly and very passionate about because it affects a lot of people that I love.
And this is one that I've had to come to learn, like, from a young age through to now. It's something I've had to unlearn due to, Christianity has made me feel a certain way. So pretty much what we're talking about is...
as you can see from the title, the LGBTQ community, and how Pasifika handles them, and how, as members of the poly community, we interact with our brothers and our sisters who are queer, or however they identify.
Exactly. And I think what really started this off was Israel Folau's tweet on Twitter. He put it out because Australia is currently going through pretty much a vote at the moment to change the definition of marriage. So everyone there gets a chance to vote. And Israel Folau came out and said that he respects everyone, he loves and respects everyone's opinions, but he personally will not be supporting gay rights or gay marriage.
This one is rough for me because there's a lot of things when it comes to our people that I want to say colonization, church, Christianity, you know, and there are a lot of those things where that's 100% accurate, you know, and that plays a part in this conversation as well on a lot of levels, because a lot of these ignorant mindsets didn't exist in our culture before colonization and Palangi influence in the church and all of those things. But this is also one of those things where I can't blame it entirely on the church. It hurts to say it, but there are a lot of things in our culture as Pacific Islanders, as Pacifica people, as Islanders, where our people just choose to be very ignorant. And they're very proud of their ignorance. And it's not even like a religious thing for some people. They just get really adamantly, like, hateful about these topics. And one of the reasons that hurts so much for me is because some of the people that I love most, some of the people that really taught me and helped me grow and mature as a man and helped me understand so much more about myself and my life, are my friends and family who are gay and queer and members of the LGBTQ spectrum, and who are Pacific Islanders. And so to know that things like this happen in our community on a regular basis is very hurtful, because this hurts the people that I love, and they were born Samoan and born Maori, you know what I mean? And so they've had to deal with this all their lives. And I think that's what really bothers me the most about it. I mean, like, sincerely, they taught me so much, because I understand there were things that I was ignorant about and that I didn't know and I didn't understand about the community. You know, and it was so funny I guess because I was able to learn in an environment of love, like I already knew when I came into their lives, like that they were a part of this spectrum. And so there was no, like, I knew I wanted to be in this environment because it was so funny. Growing up for me, only once in my life have I ever lived with another straight man. It's always been with women because I grew up in a family full of women, or around people who were LGBTQ because one of my brothers is that, you know what I mean? And so I was so uncomfortable the first time I ever, like, had roommates who were a straight couple because I hate to say it, but, like, I feel like straight people, it's like a privilege thing. Like, there are things that you don't have to deal with and don't interact with, so you have these ignorances about them, and you don't even understand that you're saying anything that's messed up or thinking anything that's messed up until people you love are affected by those things. And that's what it took. Like, I became a member of this community because of all of my friends and family, and I loved them so much that when they taught me, I didn't get bent out of shape about it. I was like, oh damn, I didn't even realize. And so it's like one of my favorite sayings in life is from The Godfather. It's like, do you spend time with your family? And he says, yeah. And he says, good, because a man who doesn't spend time with his family can never be a real man. And one of my homegirls who's a lesbian was like, what's a real man? What makes a real man? And she felt away because a lot of our whānau is transgender, you know what I mean? And so that's hurtful to them and how they identify, because that takes it comes into that quantification. And so it was things like that, like you don't think anything of when you say it until it affects someone that you love, and then you're like, oh shit, that is kind of ugly. And this is the same conversation that we have about her in terms of race. It's just, in the now it's in the sexual spectrum, and it's messed up because just like when it comes to race, some people don't get it. They choose to be ignorant about it, like, oh no, you're just, this is not a big deal, you're making this about race.
Or they're like, oh, it's just my opinion. Like, right. Opinion.
They do the same thing with and so this is why you have people that get disowned and rejected by their families. You think love is enough to bridge that gap and help people understand. Nah. It's not always. It's not always. And this situation is a lot of what we're dealing with. You have, like, they're like, oh, a lot of people when they talk about Samoa, they're like, oh, we're progressive because, oh, Fafas. But the thing is, it's disrespectful of Fafas, especially because we just had a talk in the community recently, and you saw how much people allow the Fafa culture because they don't take them seriously. But when Fafas wanted the right to, like, marry and things like that, anything that's even remotely gay and is not one person, when it becomes couple or family related, the community takes a hard line on it, and all of that understanding disappears and evaporates.
In the Samoan culture, people like to say that, oh, we're very accepting, we have this third gender, the Fafas, and people really like to say, oh, we're progressive, we accept. But now when these trans people want to be called their correct pronouns by what, and we're like, oh, what is that? Why do we just gonna call you what we want to? We're just gonna call you a Fafa. Like we're surface level acceptance. Like there, we know you exist, but we are not really accepting. And I think that's the same. Honestly, I feel like it's a lot to do with Christianity. Like, grown up,
I feel like it's a mix, but go ahead.
Yeah, like growing up in the Mormon culture, it's a hard no on gay marriage, on being gay.
As a former and recovering Mormon, yes, exactly. I understand this.
So that's where a lot of these people who are on Twitter who are like, nah, it's just my opinion, but gay marriage, I'm voting no. I've
heard some of the most ignorant,
is where their mentality has come from.
Bigoted comments towards the LGBTQ community from our community, and that's as an Afro-Latino man, as a African American man, as a poly man, like all of them. I'm like, there was this one wild case in the black community where this person's parents were gay. Both of her fathers were gay men, and she chose to identify as a transgender woman, and her fathers disowned her because they said they couldn't understand that. So it's crazy because depending on where you're at in it, you get it from your own community. I know people,
I won't name names, but I had a discussion with a few people in my family, and they understand gay, like how you can be gay,
but they don't understand transgender. But they
cannot get their mind around.
And one of the comments that came back, because I was so happy I chose not to be there, but one of their arguments was, so if I wake up tomorrow and I want to be Batman, then I'm Batman? That's how that works?
Yeah, that's how they, like,
justified their mindset on not believing in.
And I'm like, how do you, like, hang out with, because they hang around with fuffers and trans people, and I'm like, do you call them their pronouns?
You can hang out with someone and not have respect for them. You can hang out with someone and not take their lifestyle seriously.
That's what a lot of our people think, is like, oh, I love and respect you, but nah, if you're not
just actively, not this part of
if
you,
you don't go out of your way to accommodate them for, like, then you don't actually love and respect them.
You don't, and they think they do, and it's that piecemeal. No, I accept this part of you, just not this part of you.
It's
so as long as you're only this part of yourself,
sinner, but hate the sin.
Oh my God, that is one of the things that makes me angriest about the Mormon culture. Hate the sin, not the sinner. What? Yo, anyway, I'm sorry. So, very worked up about this topic. We feel very strongly about this because it does affect people that we love. And just this level of ignorance is really unacceptable. And the thing that makes it rough, like I said, is there are people that don't even want to learn to understand the difference. And I think one of the biggest issues with this conversation is, it's not your business.
Exactly.
It's not your place.
Let people live. Jeez.
You don't have the right to decide whether or not how someone identifies is valid. It doesn't affect your life. It doesn't have anything to do with you. And it's not your place to know. Or, like, if they want to help you understand, yo, God's blessed them. And that's dope. But in the other thing about this conversation, I think for me, I'm sorry, you have something you want to say?
Go.
Is I think this also ties in to by erasure, because we have so many issues in the community. Like I said, so we have gay people, like, yo, I'll come back to the Christianer thing, but anyway, so like I said, we have gay people that don't understand transgender people, and we have people from all ends of the spectrum that participate in by erasure, like, oh, you sleep with men and women and you're just greedy. I've heard so many people try and pretend that bi people don't exist, and it goes both ways. No pun intended. But like I feel especially in the black and brown community. So for black men and for poly men, if you are a man and you interact with another man, you are gay. They don't care if you like men and women. To them, there's no other distinction. And a lot of women feel that way too. You're gay. There is no bi. If you ever been with another man, you're gay. Like, and yo, that's mad hurtful for people, because it's like you really end up having to hide who you are because people can't understand and don't accept you for who and what you are.
I think this feeds into a lot of comments that I've been hearing on Twitter, especially from men who are like, I think it really feeds into their whole masculinity, like,
hyper masculinity,
exactly,
homophobia, and the fear and ignorance that come from hyper masculinity and the toxic,
And I've seen so many comments. They're like, oh, so we say we passed this bill, this gay marriage thing. What comes next? What's next? Like, this just opens up doors for so many things. And I'm like, what comes next is you live your life.
But the things that they say are so ignorant and so wrong. Like, there are so many people that try to tie LGBTQ or being gay to pedophilia.
Exactly.
And they have nothing to do with each other. And somebody had to tear a group apart on the internet for that, because obviously it was a group of Palungi, but they made this poster, and it was like, it was a little boy, and it was a man, and the man was kneeling down next to the little boy, and they were holding hands face to face, and inside the man was a silhouette of a little girl, and they were like, you can't define how people identify and what their love is. And people tore that shit. They were like, what the fuck you're not gonna do is try and use gay people to define pedophilia as being acceptable. So get that shit the fuck out of here right now.
Exactly.
And people, and I think people try and sneak shit like that in, and this is the stuff that hurts the entire community. And this is that conversation is too. Like, when it comes to Palangi, you can't use an individual to judge the whole. But almost any other group, if it's like one Muslim or one lesbian or one black person or one gay person, then they define the entirety of all of their people if it's something negative. And if it's something positive, then you never hear about it. Oh, this gay dude killed these peoples because he was warped in his mind. And like, that shit is sick. It's really sick that they try and break down. They try and make it a moral issue. You know what I mean? And I don't care because I'm not Christian, but I've seen the pain that a lot of LGBT Christians go through.
Exactly.
Because they love their faith and they love their God and they love their families.
The two.
Right. And being raised to hate yourself and being told you're never going to get into heaven. You're going to burn in hell, and you choose to be this way. And it's not a choice. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, you don't grow up under paint chips or drink sour milk and all of a sudden there's a dick in your mouth. No, that's not the way it works. You know what I mean? Like, we're born who we are, and there's nothing wrong with loving or being attracted to anyone in your spectrum. And there's so many different spectrums out there. There's so many different panamorous and polyamorous, you know what I mean? Like there are people who are attracted to a specific sex. There are people who are attracted to people. So it doesn't matter if you're male or female, it's about the connection that we have. Then there are people that identify as something different than they were born in. Like I said, like, the majority of people that I've interacted with the community from a young age were gay. And I think I didn't really understand transgender people when I was young because they existed, but we have a lot of drag queens in New York and a lot of drag queens in Hawaii. So I just assumed they were drag queens, and not all drag queens are transgender, and those are not necessarily interchangeable things. So I always understood the gay community, but it wasn't until I came home to Aotearoa and started living with my fam in Welly, and so many of our friends and close members of our circles were transgender, and I was like, oh, nah, dope, I get this, because my niggas is my niggas, and if you identify as my nigga, then you my nigga, you know what I mean? Like, and you know, so like I said, it's hard enough to be a person of color. And all the things that we deal with in our own community. And so the added level of being a member of the LGBTQ community, and then having to face hate and ignorance from your own people, and even deeper in a lot of cases, the lack of acceptance from your own family.
And it's not even like they've gone out of, like, a lot of our people have gone out of their way to try and, like,
no effort,
think more about why they feel this way. It's just simply, oh, this is how it's always been, so this is why.
This is my view, this is my belief. This would have been a great interview episode. And you know what? We're going to come back to this topic. And it's so funny because we're going to start doing interviews and we'll have guest speakers because that's the next direction we're going to move in. But
I feel like us being two
straight people, us having this conversation, so I feel like it's still kind of a little bit of a slap in the face, no matter how active we are in the community or how many people
just
we
like
love.
How when people talk about, when two white people are like talking about diversity, and
right,
like,
exactly.
Oh, well, where's the diversity?
So this would have been a dope interview episode, and we will come back on this. And I don't know, I'm going to try and get my best friend to visit, and I hope if she does come visit and stay with us, she'd be willing to do an episode with us talking about these. I'm trying to not use names, you know what I mean?
Wrong.
But yeah, I think that would be really dope if we could get her to do an episode of the show with us.
Yeah. It really, really hurts me that, like, there's people who haven't come out to their family, like our own Pacific Islanders who haven't come out to their family. And, like, they hop on the internet and they see their family slandering them, their community, and they see pretty much our own people and their opinions. Like, they don't deserve that.
Facts.
And it's just, I don't know how people muster the strength to come out in, like, that environment. Like, it's really tough for our people. especially like you said, being brown is one thing, but being brown and gay or being brown and transgender is another thing. It's like a completely different ballpark.
It is. And I don't think people even pretend to take the time to sympathize or empathize or try and understand. And it's so funny because it's different. When I'm in Welly, I'm with my friends and fam. I don't really know any straight people in Welly, and I don't associate or hang out or spend time with in Welly, or spend time with straight people. And I think it's so funny. Well, I know one, Sunshine, anyway. But I think I told you when we went to the parade, the gay parade here in Auckland, like, I'd rather be around members of the LGBT community because you have to deal with so much less ignorance. And it's different for me there because...
Oh, but there in itself, within the LGBTQ community...
You do have issues, yeah.
Especially with white...
Yes. White queers have... Yeah, that's...
Especially the Trump ones.
Such a sticky subject. But it's so funny because when I'm in Welly and I'm surrounded by my friends and fam, like, I am accepted as a member of the friends and fam, and nobody thinks I'm not, and I get introduced and it's fine. But it's so funny because, like, we're together here and we're obviously a straight couple. Like, I will be around my sister, and she's an art student, and most of her friends are gay or fa-fas, and because I am a dark man or a black male, from their view, like, they naturally assume it's going to be straight ignorance. I'm going to be... So they don't even, like, engage with me. They just watch to see what's going to come out of my mouth. And I don't even get mad at them. And I don't fault them because I understand from men in our community that is the norm. And dudes are like, oh, I'm fine with gay people as long as they don't hit on me or they don't talk to me or touch me or approach. Nigga, don't nobody want you. Ain't nobody checking for you in that little dick, nigga. Anyway, you know what I mean? And so I can't even be mad at them for not interacting with me because they don't know my views. And in a lot of these situations, you gotta be safe. Exactly. You know what I mean? And so you can't go out of the way, oh, what's up? Where are you from? And it's so funny, and it's not funny, it's messed up because I've seen people that want to interact with me and be like, oh, I love your accent, and this and that. And straight people are okay with that. And a gay person will be curious and they'll just mind their business. And I'm like, nah, my nigga, I'm friends with everybody, which is one of your complaints. Like, I'm friendly with everybody. So, like, nah, just come talk to me, chill, what's going on? I don't have a gay community here, and I don't spend time with straight people, which is why I have so few friends in Auckland, even outside of Auckland being Auckland. So if you're gay, and you're cool with having a straight friend, holla at me, baby. But no. So I get it. And so just to see this week and a lot of the exchange that went on around this, like we said, it was really hurtful. And that's why we felt the need to have this episode. And I think it's different for both of us in different perspectives, but it is something that we care about. And in order to open up that conversation more and have proper representation, the next time we talk on this subject, whether it's my best friend or not, we will have a LGBTQ person with us so that they can discuss how they feel about it. We'll go from there. Is there anything else you want to say on this topic?
I hope Australia does listen. Australia is one of the most racist, homophobic, Islamophobic, sexist place on the planet. When I lived there, it was just so like...
Same when I lived there too. I used to it was so hard for me to not give people hidings all the time. Australians are the worst. And it's so funny because before I moved to Australia, I was like temporarily living in this hostel and in Oregon until I found a place, and there was this dude from Texas, and I was like really helping him understand how people feel about Americans around the world as a global traveler. And he was like, shit, I had no idea. He's like, I'm from Texas. I don't know anybody that's not white. I don't know these things. I live in like my bubble. And there was this Australian dude, and he was like, nah, we love Americans. It's not like that everywhere. I was like, Australians are worse versions of Americans.
Exactly.
You love Americans because they're your fucking cousins. You guys are like the same type of ignorance. Like, of course, shut up. No one's talking to you, Australia, man. I was like, no one talks about in your school books the fucking slaughtering that went on for the Aboriginal people and the Rabbit Proof Princess. So you keep your ass over there and drink a Foster's. He was like, okay, mate.
No, but I really hope that they... Look, I'm not expecting that they will, but I hope the vote goes in favor of the LGBT community. Like,
I do as well.
Just let people live. Jesus. And I think that's a good place to end the...
Yeah, so thank you for joining us again this week.
And thank you for listening in.
We appreciate your listenership. We have important, exciting things coming. So our website is currently in play and being worked on, and we will be giving announcements for that soon. Also, we will be doing a launch contest / party around the release of the site. We're going to be doing free giveaways of Coco Lesa merchandise, the book, lots of different things. And so we have a lot of exciting stuff going on that we're looking forward to including you guys on. So keep listening, and we look forward to sharing that stuff with you soon. And let's be on the lookout on the Twitter, and the IG, and the Facebook for all the stuff coming your way. Thanks for being with us, guys.
Bye.
Bye.